Hey guys, welcome back to the program. I have a very special guest here in the Vinyl Pad. This is Matt from Too Many Records.
Hello.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be in the pad. I was here once before.
Yes.
But now I'm suited up, so I feel like I'm actually able to be in the pad.
Absolutely, yeah, and Matt's referring to a live stream that we did, I don't know, a month or two ago. That was a lot of fun.
It's great.
But you're here to educate moi on some Vaporwave.
And I'm honored to do so.
This is exciting.
Very excited. Vaporwave, I would never consider myself to be an expert on it because it's one of those things that changes every day, almost. There's a new subgenre or a new slew of releases or a redefinition of what exactly Vaporwave is.
Right, okay.
But I like to think of myself as I know a lot. I have a fair amount of records, which I've brought a couple choice ones to show you.
Which is rare, because usually it's on cassettes.
Correct.
If physically at all.
It existed predominantly on cassette for a long time, and then I guess as the group continued to grow in terms of everyone realizing how cool Vaporwave was, there started to be some more vinyl releases. And right now, I would say there's more pre-orders for vinyl releases than I've seen ever before.
Okay.
Because now everyone's like, oh, vinyl's awesome, and Vaporwave's awesome, so it doesn't have to live on this cassette. Although I will say, cassette is one of the coolest mediums to listen to Vaporwave on because it is lo-fi by nature most of the time. So the tape hiss and like elements of that kind of analog play definitely play into how great it can sound.
Cool. So when did this all start? It seemed like it sort of just kind of erupted out of nowhere, out of vapor.
Vaporwave is timeless. It has been here since the dawn of the dinosaurs.
Awesome.
In some way or another. Now, I think somewhere around 2010 is when there were the first traces of Vaporwave.
Oh, that long ago.
And then 2012, I think, was like when some of the bigger albums of Vaporwave, the legendary ones, Macintosh Plus, which we'll get into down the road, and some of the bigger ones that have stood the test of time came out around then. But I would say in the past 2 years or so, there's been this new renaissance, for better or worse, within the genre. And what's interesting is that Vaporwave can be very good or very bad.
Yeah.
Like some of it is just
I've experienced
so boring,
both. Yeah.
because it's very easy to make. A lot of times people take some of the elements such as sampling, an 80s dance track and down pitching it, just thinking they're going to make the next Macintosh Plus. But Vaporwave, the best way it was described to me was actually by an artist within the genre. His name is Otto. He said to me, Vaporwave is this generation's punk rock.
Oh.
And that may sound super weird at first, and I get that. But it's this generation's making music for themselves, making music that's raw and full of their emotion, and they don't care if it's gonna make them money, they don't care if it's gonna get them famous.
Right.
It's an outlet.
So the ethos of it is similar.
Totally. It's the internet generation's punk rock.
Got it.
Because it lives on Bandcamp. I mean, you're not gonna really go to a store and see a Vaporwave section.
Right.
Yet. But Vaporwave has so many subgenres, is what's so crazy about it.
I heard it's like Simpson Wave or something.
That's more of a
joke?
meme or a joke.
Okay.
I mean, there are elements of Vaporwave that sample things that are kind of funny or goofy or meme relevant to like make a funny like commentary, but it's not really considered good music. It ranges from like ambient new age stuff all the way to trap and noise.
Oh.
There's also hard vapor, which is, again, what it sounds like. It's like heavy, kind of like house, but like aggressive electronic music, but still with that vapor aesthetic, which is the most important word in the vapor world. Everything's all about the aesthetic because it's a genre that's just as much about the art as it is about the music. So the art often features things like stone busts, nighttime cityscapes, usually palm trees, lots of pinks and purples and neon colors.
Yeah.
It tries to take nostalgia and put it into the music and the visual, because nostalgia is like probably the most powerful force on the planet in terms of getting someone to like emote, and Vaporwave is very much about evoking that nostalgia in a way that's musically pleasing and visually appealing. I have a couple records I want to show you that kind of go through maybe my history with Vaporwave, but also Also, I think these are essential albums that everyone should have if you're into the genre, and they're ones that are kind of landmark albums throughout. This is the first record that I ever heard that was Vaporwave, and this is before I even knew what Vaporwave was. So this is James FERRARO, Far Side Virtual.
God, it looks very 91, 89. Wow, that's cool.
Yeah,
I've never seen
this. It came out in 91. No. This I think was 2012 or 11. It was described to me by someone who recommended me the album as a futuristic city powered by iPads. That's how they describe the music, and when you listen to it, it's pretty accurate. It's a pretty great way to put it. Lots of interesting kind of synthy bleeps and bloops in a way that's very euphoric because it has this like like angelic kind of feel to it, but it's also just like futuristic and you can't put your finger exactly on what you're hearing. It's like a symphony, it's like a MIDI symphony. James FERRARO has a ton of albums, like way too many. He ranges from noise music and just experimental beyond my comprehension to beautiful stuff like this.
Cool.
I tend to shy more towards this stuff. It's on clear vinyl, which is also pretty cool.
Yeah, nice.
This was such an interesting listen for me. It was unlike anything I'd ever heard before, and that's what kind of made me want to investigate what it was. And then I heard the term Vaporwave. And someone was like, oh, there's a club on Facebook called the Vaporwave Cassette Club, and you can learn all about Vaporwave. And I was like, cool, I'll join. And at the time, it was like 500 Vaporwave nerds. That was maybe 3 years ago, 2.5, and now there's about 8,000 people in that group. So it has exploded in the sense of Vaporwave being more of a mainstream genre. And yeah, Far Side Virtual, even if like Vaporwave scares you, like this is just a really cool electronic album.
Cool.
And I think anyone could enjoy it.
Nice. So it's a nice introduction.
Yes.
Cool.
If you like this, you'll probably find some Vaporwave that you like.
Sir, would you like to receive the New Yorker directly on your iTablet? As you wish.
So that is, of course, my intro, but most people's intro would be this guy right here.
Yes, I've seen this.
This is Macintosh Plus Floral Shop. This is pretty much what I described to you, Vaporwave. It's, a stone bus, you got a cityscape, you got pinks, you got checkerboards. Again, nostalgia.
Yeah.
Macintosh Plus is the artist, but she has many aliases. Vectroid is the name of the actual artist, and she goes by Tanning Salon and very prolific. She's not really in the scene anymore. I feel like that's kind of what I was saying about how, for better or worse, it's exploded, because a lot of the people that were originally in the Vaporwave scene, like Mac Plus and things of that nature, they've kind of stepped away because people have bastardized what it was originally about, which was this nostalgic critique of consumerism and pop culture and retro kind of vibes mixed in with that. And now it's just becoming, I don't know, sometimes it's a way for people to sell cassettes or just to just build a collection without even listening to any of it and just be like, I have 800 Vaporwave cassettes, but I haven't heard one of them. This lived on cassette, as you know, for a long time. It was a label called Beer on the Rug, is one of the first labels to do some kind of Vaporwave type cassettes. The original cassette run of this, people pay over $1,000 for it.
Wow.
Because it's like history, it's music history, I guess. I mean, there have been a lot of represses in terms of bootlegs, but no official repress of it. So the original cassette sold by Beer on the Rug, if you go on Discogs, your head's in a spin. This is a really great album. A lot of it is kind of like down-pitched, 80s singers, and it's just really interesting because it's very much that nostalgic feeling where, like, I know this song, but this is like a remixed version of it. But it's not just remixes of songs. It also takes so many different sounds into account when you're listening to it. It's beautiful. It's a great album. And I'm actually shocked that I got a vinyl pressing because it is chock full of uncleared samples. Like, the whole thing is a giant uncleared sample. I don't understand how this got pressed to vinyl. And the guy who pressed this, there was a huge thing. I'm not quite sure if I can speak on it too much, but it was a big debacle, and people are paying stupid prices for these right now just because it is Mac Plus. And of course they had to do it on the pink to match the cover.
Nice. Great color match too.
Yeah, if you see on the label, it has that like checkerboard, and then like the bust is being blown up and twisted and distorted.
Is that a rainbow on the spine there too? A little bit?
Oh yeah, it's like a rainbow gradient kind of thing. Yeah, really nice.
What it kind of really reminds me of is sort of, because my office is right by a window in a busy street, so often I'll hear a car drive by with, some oldies 80s, stuff from the 80s or 90s, and it has this Doppler effect. So it changes pitch as it drives by. And that to me is like, oh, that to me is what it kind of reminds me of. Just sort of like, you're not really listening to it. It's more like it's happening over here kind of a thing.
This is one that most people respect quite a bit. This is 2814, Birth of a New Day.
I think I've heard this artist as well.
Yes, so 2814 is actually two artists collaborating.
Oh.
And they're two artists within the community that are huge. One is HKE, which stands for Hong Kong Express. This is his collaboration with my favorite Vaporwave artist, whose name is Telepath. He specializes in slush wave, which is just like really heady, angelic ambient stuff that's just like kind of just, it feels like you're kind of just like floating in like a slushy river and just like under the stars or something. And it's all, he's super prolific, super mysterious. He's one of the artists that isn't easy to access like Vectroid, where his stuff is so amazing, but he's not in the scene talking to people like a lot of the artists tend to be. The two of them put out this album, which is the second album under 2814. There's 3 of them right now. This is the best one, I think. It is like a cyberpunk dreamscape.
Gotcha.
It's basically like sitting on a subway, an outdoor subway in Tokyo at night, just with your headphones on, looking out the window, like contemplating your entire life.
Wow.
That's what this album evokes in me when I listen to it. I mean, you can kind of tell just from the art, it has that kind of aesthetic of like almost like a Blade Runner type outdoor marketplace in the back a little bit with like the signs. And this is the repress of this record. I have the original as well, but I like the repress because it's on colored vinyl and it has a gatefold. The original did not.
Right.
Looking at this, I feel like anyone could just kind of like pull thoughts or emotions or build a story in their head.
Yeah, especially these little peeks under the window here.
Some people draw some comparisons to Eno with this.
Right.
Like harkening back to like some of the best ambient records ever. They're saying that while this isn't necessarily just strictly ambient music, the elements that are evoked from this music definitely harken back to that era of just like that pure, pristine, and masterful ambient that Eno was doing. Yeah, I love this record. The repress is, I'm sure you can guess what color.
Purple?
Yeah, it's on purple vinyl. Just because, yeah, I mean, that's the perfect color for it.
Yeah.
And it sounds really good. It's actually, I think it's, oh yeah, if you hold it up to the light, it's actually,
oh, that's
there's
gorgeous.
Like smoke in there, but it looks just like purple.
It's like you don't see it until you hold it up. That's amazing.
And that's kind of an allegory for Vaporwave as a whole, because you don't really see it until you pay attention. This is an essential record for ambient fans, for people getting into Vaporwave, just because the two people involved with the project are just heavy hitters. Their solo careers. Telepath stuff, I mean, if you like relaxing to ambient music, there's nothing better than Telepath, in my opinion. Even going back to classic ambient stuff.
Wow.
You know, talking about some of the masters of stuff like William Basinski and people that like I really respect and admire, I think Telepath is just as good. And he's so young. I think he's like 21 years old or something. And he's just, he has a mastery of music that I couldn't even fathom. So this is probably the most Vaporwave cover and back cover of any of the releases I have. So this is Cat Corp, again, Stone Busts. Obviously old school windows of just like a repeating kind of foresty, atmospheric elements. And the back is really cool. I really like this because Vindige right there, which is Vinyl Digital, which is a website that from Germany. It's an online distro, and they're the ones that press this.
Okay.
So it was cool. They had a little icon, and then right here it's like, you know, track listing and copyright information.
I love that.
So it's all within. The album's called HIRAETH. I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm gonna get destroyed in the comments by true Vapor fans, but I would pronounce it HIRAETH. And this is a really, he's one of my favorite next to Telepath because he's incredibly prolific. He probably has at least 15 or 20 albums and they're all super fascinating. He is the master.
That's crazy.
He's the master of what I would call mallsoft. Not all of his.
Oh.
Yeah. That genre rings a bell, right?
Yeah.
That's one of the bigger ones. It's basically like walking, it's like Muzak. It's like walking through a mall and just having this feeling of like a mall in the 90s or a Kmart in the 80s. And just hearing these sounds and it's like peaceful and synthy, but doesn't really have any substance to it.
Right.
But repurposing that feeling and making it enjoyable to actively or passively listen to. This album I love because it's all over the place. Some of it's ambient, some of it's jazzy. Some of it is a little more aggressive and synthy, and it keeps you on your toes the entire time. This is his only album that's on vinyl as far as I know, and I hope that more of them get a vinyl pressing. Like I said before, I feel like uncleared samples is the problem. I think that
I'm sure.
A lot of these plants are afraid to press these because it's got to be a logistical nightmare.
Is there a lot of music videos associated or visual treatments that go along with some of this?
Good question, and the answer is going to be a little weird. It's that a lot of these artists are starting to release companion VHSs.
Okay.
Because they need
Makes
it
total
to be
sense.
that low quality, lo-fi, nostalgic element. You can't really do a Blu-ray or a DVD of the images they're trying to. It would feel like not genuine, you know.
Okay. Yeah.
But the VHS community is actually blowing up within the Vaporwave community. I don't have a way to play VHSs, so I haven't purchased any of them because for me.
Well, I got one. We
now
could project it in the living
I
room.
Perfect. Love a Vaporwave VHS listening party.
Awesome.
Viewing listening party. But I think it's the album on there as well as visuals that the artist curates. And those tend to sell insanely fast.
Sure.
And I see more physical releases for the visuals than I do on like YouTube, which is interesting. I think it's more like they like making a physical object that's a relic of the past turned modern, which is really fascinating to me.
Cool. I'll have to find some of that.
I'll let you know next time a VHS goes up for sale. You can grab it.
That'd be fun.
In the 5 seconds it's up before it's gone.
Are there concerts? Like, do you go see these people live? Like, how does that work?
What's interesting is that a lot of these people make the music, and obviously they're not really. Maybe they don't have the personality to like go be outgoing and do a concert. It's just for them and like their fans. But some artists within the scene. There's one who I didn't even mention at all, which is crazy because he's one of the biggest names, George Clanton.
That's a great name.
It's a great name. That's his real name, I believe. And he has a couple aliases. Esprit is one of them, and he has a bunch of albums. One of his albums I almost brought was Virtua.zip. That made it to vinyl because he has a label called 100% Electronica. And he releases a lot of his stuff through that.
Yeah.
His girlfriend, Negative Gemini, who does kind of Vaporwave style dance music.
Yeah.
He does a lot of concerts. He tours with his girlfriend. The two of them do shows. I actually saw them at Zebulon, that new venue that just opened up in Frogtown.
These real places?
Zebulon, real venue. It's cool.
Sounds like a planet.
We got to go sometime.
Okay.
But yeah, you got to take a spaceship all the way up to Zebulon. So
I'm all for it.
Yeah, and the shows are great. Everyone's just dancing, and he's dancing. He's in the crowd dancing with everyone, and it's not really impressive in terms of he just has like kind of like knobs, and it's almost like he's just kind of playing stuff. But the energy and the visuals and the feel in the room is really organic.
That's
and really
cool.
Good. And it was a great show. There's another artist I didn't mention, Blank Banshee. He wears this crazy like face form silver mask and a black hoodie, and
Ooh.
I saw him at the Echoplex, and it was amazing. He does kind of vapor trap stuff that has a lot of video game sampled sounds.
Gotcha.
He's been performing as Blank Banshee for a while, and he's one of those people that the music's so aggressive, and he's definitely doing a lot more live than some of the other artists because it is the most mainstream version of it, but it's still very much Vaporwave inspired.
What's next? What's on the horizon for this genre of genres?
Truthfully, it's been around for a couple years now in the mainstream, or at least in the way that anyone could access it beyond just a small circle of people sharing music. I am worried that there is a bastardization of it happening now where it's becoming a little oversaturated within itself.
Sure.
And like if you're in that cassette club and you're looking for a new album to get involved with, every day there's 6 or 7 new DIY labels popping up with like 15 more releases to listen to. No one has time for that.
Right.
And people right now are just kind of like flocking to, oh, this one's limited to 10 copies and it has a diamond shell, and it's like it's becoming a parody of that which it originally parodied.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like it was making fun of the consumerism that now is Vaporwave community of like trying to buy all this scarce stuff and flip them. Like the flipping community in the cassette club is out of control. People are there just to look for the limited releases to scalp and put on Discogs immediately, which is so not what Vaporwave's about. Vaporwave is mocking you. Like that's like you're the person that it's kind of parodying. So I think it's on a decline, personally. I think that the albums that will stand the test of time already exist, and there's a lot of them.
Okay.
There's dozens to dig into.
And some of them we just showcased, or all of them?
All of them.
All of them.
All of these will last the test of time, no doubt. But you're going to be so overwhelmed trying to get into it. It's definitely probably a good idea to look for a list of what are some of the best Vaporwave albums. Like, these are a great start.
Okay.
You know, on my channel, I have a video about Vaporwave where I share all my favorite Vaporwave
And we'll link
vinyl
that.
releases.
Yeah, there'll be a link. You guys can click on it.
All of those are really great to listen to start with, and they're ones that they didn't just get vinyl releases, but I bought them because they're great albums. But as it's going right now, I'm a little worried about where it's going to go, and I think maybe another genre will break out, another Vaporwave type genre, like the 2012 bubble. Maybe it'll be like another subgenre that'll just explode and become the next thing.
Thank you so much for bringing all these by. I can't wait to check out all of them more in depth. I've only sort of done bits and pieces, but
They're
really,
all good stuff.
yeah, this has been so helpful.
Thank you for having me to kind of just talk about, like I said, I'm not an expert, but I love it and I'm really invested in it.
You're
mentally.
passionate about it.
I'm passionate about it.
Yeah, and that's why I wanted you here to talk about it, because that's going to go a long way versus someone's very dry and like studious about.
Yeah, I just throw stuff at the wall and hope stuff sticks.
No, it's so much fun. If you guys want to learn more about Vaporwave and Matt's collection in general, I encourage you to head over to Too Many Records here on YouTube. I'll put a card up there and a link down there.
Awesome, thank you.
And yeah, absolutely. So, and again, thank you for being here.
Anytime, man.
Yeah.
Always good to chill at the pad.
All right. Well, guys, that'll do it for us. I want to thank you so much for watching. I am your Vinyl Geek.
I am Too Many Records.
And we'll catch you on the flip side. Hey everybody, thanks again for watching this special episode with Matt from Too Many Records. Now, if you want to see more of his channel, I'll put a link right there, as well as a video that YouTube will choose for me. So go ahead and click away.